my name is Lucy Drever and I'm a freelance workshop leader and presenter. I'm an associate artist of the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra and the head of the musicianship programme at the Benedetti Foundation. I'm really happy to be here to talk to you on behalf of the learning and participation team at Trinity Laban, because that's very much where things started for me. And looking back over the past decades of me building my career, it was really working with the L&P team at Trinity Laban that kind of was the catalyst for the career that I have built since then. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do for a career, just so that we're all on the same page, a little bit about my journey, and then how I went about building it. So what do I do as a workshop leader and presenter? Well, I'm lucky enough to work with some of the leading orchestras and ensembles, arts venues and music charities on their education and learning streams. So this could be to engage families with a particular arts venue, or it might be a 3-year residency at a school that I might be curating and leading workshops, or it could be a week-long writing project in a prison. My work also includes consultancy and training for various people. And I really love the workshop leading side. I love working with musicians and participants and support workers and everybody being an equal voice in the room. And then it's my job as a workshop leader to make sure that everybody has an equal voice and that we can create some fantastic new real music, which is really cool. And it's often inspired by classical music, which I also love. I think it's one of the best ways to tell a story. And then on the presenting side, I might be hosting an event for an organisation. I might put on a nice trouser suit or a dress and present a musical theatre concert. And then I also present family concerts as well, which I often get to write the songs for, the participation songs. So no 2 days of my job as a presenter and workshop leader are the same. Very much keeps me on my toes, but I have to say, studying at Trinity Laban and particularly working with the L&P department kind of gave me the perfect foundation for what I do now. So I remember sitting exactly where you are right now. Well, obviously not exactly where you are, but I remember being a student in Freshers and kind of going to all these talks and hearing about what each department did. And I was really fascinated by the learning and participation team, and I kind of made like a mental note that I was going to try and get some experience with them. And the opportunity came up to do some data entry for the Animate Orchestra project, which is a really fascinating and groundbreaking learning project. So if you can get some experience on that, I'd really recommend it. And I was doing the data entry, which meant that I got to really see how these projects were produced. I got to see the workshop leaders that were involved and just all the things that kind of made up a learning project. And then I registered interest with the department and was like, if there's any other opportunities, I'd love them. And the opportunity to assist a choir called the Retired Not Tired Choir, although it's got a different name now, came up to assist Natasha Lowen, who's still a workshop leader at Trinity Laban. And I had done singing with older generation choirs before, and it had been very much about singing wartime songs and Doris Day and Andrew Sisters, and obviously that's amazing. But this was the first time that I saw a workshop leader value who that older generation person was in the day. So we would do composition based on poetry that they would come up with or experiences that they'd had that week. And it was so kind of monumental for me in my discovery as to what this learning work could look like. And it's really influenced how I think about things now, and that valuing who that person is today in the room, not who they were 2 weeks ago or 50 years ago, but who they are today. So that was a really impactful project for me. And then from then I just got the bug for learning and participation work, and I went into schools, I would assist with lecturers. I just really made it known that I wanted to get as much experience as possible. And I think that's one of the top tips that I have for undergraduate students. You have 4 years to really explore so many different things, whether that's orchestration or arranging or peripatetic teaching or workshop leading or being a support musician or being an orchestral musician or being an ensemble singer. You've got so much time to explore. And it takes time to build relationships, but in the music sector, so much of the work comes from building relationships. And it's because I spent those 4 years building a relationship with the learning and participation team at Trinity Laban that I am now where I'm at for my career. And quite a few people in the L&P team told me that I would go on and do this sort of work. And, I was like, no, I'm not going to just be in education, because I still didn't think that you could actually make a living from it. And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to afford to live in London, being a freelancer. And so I kind of stubbornly took a job in a commercial radio station when I left Trinity Laban, and it was awful because I wanted to present. I didn't want to write scripts for other people. And it was that kind of then made me think, okay, well, I'm going to go do this trainee music leader scheme at Wigmore Hall, which for those of you that don't know, and I didn't know when I first came to London, it's a central music venue in London that specialises in chamber music. So I did their trainee music leader scheme. So for a year, I got to work across the community. And it was the most kind of powerful experience. I learned what I loved in the workshop leading world and what I wasn't particularly comfortable with. And since then, I've just gone on to kind of build my career. And I just, I feel extremely lucky. And there is money in education. You can pay bills. It's so creative. And I think that was the key thing for me. Like I didn't want to be given some music and then perform that music. I wanted to make different music every day and maybe never perform it again. That's kind of where my personality is comfortable. So that was my journey, and I now kind of do some mentoring, and I always say, particularly to students, just start making small steps now. And if you're wanting to be a musician, you have to be open-minded. And the happiest musicians I know are the ones that get involved with education work, and it's really fulfilling. It tests your musical skills, and it's not about giving back to the community. It's about listening to the community around you and just making music with people who are in a different life situation to you. So yeah, it's really fulfilling. So the career that I've since gone on to build is a very creative, exciting, and challenging one. And it really is all about building relationships. And for me, that foundation really started as an undergraduate at Trinity Laban. And if I can encourage you just to start making small steps now and try your hand at everything, be open-minded. For years, I was like, I'm not very good with children. I don't particularly like them. And now I work a lot with children, and it turns out I really enjoy the work and I'm good at it. So don't take yourself out of the game before you've even started. And honestly, if I could have told myself that I would be involved in quite a large way in education, like a large part of my career, I would have laughed in your face. So just try your hand at everything. Start to build your career now. Start to have the conversations now. And really do get in touch with the L&P team, because they're just doing really exciting exciting work, and they're such a creative bunch of producers, facilitators, and thinkers. So yeah, get in touch with them, and best of luck for everything. And thank you so much for your time. Bye.